Choosing a lender is a decision of immense importance because this individual is going to be assisting you through what for most of us is the single largest financial transaction of our entire life. So it is critical that they perform their duties with honesty and transparency and get you the best loan terms possible. Here are the 5 questions you need to ask when you're interviewing lenders. Number 1, how many of said loan program do you do per year? So if you're looking to use your VA loan entitlement, ask them exactly how many VA loans are you doing, buddy? Because every loan program is significantly different on what you can't do, the interest rates, the debt to income threshold, the underwriting guidelines, all of this varies significantly between VA, FHA, conventional, DPA, USDA, all of it. So if you're working with somebody that does 2 VA loans a year, can you really trust their expertise? Do they know how the entitlement actually works? Do they know what the acronym BAH stands for? Believe it or not, I've had buyers that ended up with lenders that did not know what BAH or BAS was. They didn't understand the VA disability percentages. Make sure that whatever lender you're talking to understands the VA loan, understands your base pay, understands VA disability, understands the acronyms, understands what a PCS move is all about. Because how can they give you the best possible service and the best possible terms if they don't understand any of it? When I bought my first home, I failed to do this because I didn't know any better. And I was saddled with somebody that, looking back, didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And I know that I could have gotten better terms and a better overall experience had I asked this question along with the 4 that are going to follow this. If you are talking to a lender and you do not have the warm and fuzzy that they are familiar with the VA loan entitlement, please reach out. Send me their name, send me their NMLS number. I'll look them up. I can look up any lender in America and I'll tell you exactly how many loans they're doing overall, exactly how many VA loans or USDA loans or whatever it is, how many they're doing, what was the last one they did, what was the last one they did in a state where you're buying, and that's the real data. Because I have had borrowers reach out and be like, well, this guy, hey, he really doesn't seem to know a whole lot about the military, but he says he does 95 loans a year for VA. I'll look him up, the dude did too. Like, this actually happens. So many lenders will purposely misrepresent themselves to get your business. Don't let it happen to you. If you have any questions about your lender, please reach out to me. I'll look them up. I'll give you the real data, and then I'll answer the questions for you that they cannot answer. Question number 2, are you an accessible lender? Now, notice I didn't say, are you a local lender? Because in this day and age, right, everything with the loan is signed digitally right up until the day of closing, where you go in and you still wet sign some documents and all that. But everything leading up to that is a DocuSign. You don't really need to go into a lender's office anymore to fill out an application, to talk through options, to turn in documents. Those days are long gone, man. So when people say, hey, are you a local lender? What they really are asking is, are you an accessible lender? Okay, what does that mean? Well, real estate is not a 9-to-5 Monday through Friday operation. So if you have a question or want to submit an offer on a Saturday at 3 p.m., your lender needs to be accessible, or somebody on that lender's team needs to be accessible to help you out. If you need an emergency cost estimate at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday, somebody on that lender's team needs to be accessible to help you out. I have seen so many borrowers lose out on deals because they're using, some bank or whomever that doesn't work weekends. So like, well, I got to wait until Monday at 9 a.m. Well, you lost out on that deal. And you know what's a really terrible experience? Because this has also happened to me, is when you don't really have a Mike Lindsay with you the entire way, right? What you do is you call into a call center and hope somebody picks up. Or you call a 1-800 number. You put in your loan number, and whoever happens to pick up the phone that day is who you're talking to. And then they got to go on the computer and read all the notes for everything that's happened so far. Or, like I said, once 5 p.m. hits, you can't get anybody. That you just, in a competitive real estate environment, an environment where you need to close fast, an environment where there's a lot of uncertainty and you need that education, this is not a scenario where you can possibly be. So question number 2, are you an accessible lender? If I reach out at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, am I going to get a hold of you? If I reach out on 7 p.m. on a Wednesday, am I going to get a hold of you? This is critical, okay? My philosophy, for good or bad, there are no days off, not in this industry. Question number 3, are you a teacher? Now, this is so important for anybody that's a first-time home buyer, or perhaps has bought a home before but didn't really know what the hell was going on, or maybe has bought a home before but it was 15 years ago, whatever. A lender should be more than just about the numbers. They should be an educator. And this is how I personally built my entire platform, because the first couple of times I purchased homes, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't understand the loan estimates. I didn't understand what all the closing costs were. What is title insurance? Like, why am I prepaying 15 months of homeowners insurance? Nobody explained any of that to me. It was like driving with the blinders on, and it was a very uncomfortable experience. And I know that had I been educated and been able to read these documents and understand the math and the numbers and how we got there, I likely could have gotten some better terms, because I would have known what to ask, what to expect, how to shop between lenders. But I didn't know any of that. So, which is why I've built my entire platform around education, because I don't want you to experience that, which is why I'm teaching you what to ask lenders when you're interviewing them, or what to ask me if you want to interview me. A lender needs to educate. Okay, they need to explain at least the basics of whatever loan program you're working. When you go under contract, there needs to be a phone call explaining all the contractual milestones that you can expect. Disclosures, monitor your communication channels, appraisals, closing disclosure, all that stuff needs to be explained. When you do get a cost sheet, all right, or your first official loan estimate, they should run through it with you if you don't understand the terms, or if you have questions about a single thing, like what are all these title fees? Like, why do I prepay 15 months of homeowners insurance? Why do I prepay 7 months of property taxes? You know, these are questions that your lender should answer, because it does give you the base of knowledge in which to make decisions, and it arms you for future purchases. And the more you know about how to read these documents, the less that lenders can take advantage of you. Number 4, do you disclose all costs and fees up front? Now, this is something, y'all, if you were in my Facebook group or anything like that, you know how many loan estimates I get where I can correctly identify where a lender is being misleading, where they're fudging numbers, where they're purposely undercutting numbers, or straight up lying. See it all the time, especially in an environment right now where a lot of people are very desperate for business. We'll see a lot of shenanigans, okay? So even if you do ask this question, do you disclose all points and fees up front? You might not get an honest answer, but you are letting them know what your expectation is and that you know enough to answer that. And I think they'll be a lot less likely to try and play games. But this is what you want to avoid. You know, Private Mike Lindsay starts talking to this lender. He wants to buy a home, 123 Main Street. I'm like, hey, can I get a cost estimate? So I get the initial estimate, which is really just a fee sheet. And by the way, on a fee sheet, a lender can literally put whatever they want. There is no law, no rule that says a lender has to disclose everything up front on these fee sheets, believe it or not. So I get the fee sheet, man, interest rate looks great, like no lender fees. Oh my, the property taxes and insurance are super low. Closing costs looks great. This is amazing. Let's offer on this home. So then Private Lindsay gets under contract on a home. He gets his first initial loan estimate, which does not have a locked rate. So lenders can still play games because they have not locked the interest rate yet. So I'm looking at it, well, the interest rate's a little higher. Now there's like an origination fee. Taxes and insurance is a little higher. I mean, I guess it still looks pretty good. It's not as good, but I guess it's not terrible. Okay, lender, let's go ahead and lock this rate. So then lender locks a rate, issues a new estimate, which is really the first ironclad estimate when it comes to loan terms. And holy crap, now there's discount points. Now there's lender fees. Now there's all these costs that were not disclosed on that original fee sheet. Dude, see it all the time. It's called the bait and switch. See it all the time. Don't let this happen to you. If you get that initial fee sheet and boy, it looks like best case scenario, too good to be true, amazing deal, once in a lifetime opportunity, start asking the questions. Or send it to me or send it to someone you trust that can read these documents, okay? Because I can pull pricing, I can pull rates for your credit score, the state where you're buying, all of it. And I can tell you whether I think this lender is legit or if they're doing the old bait and switch, okay? Make sure they are disclosing everything up front, because the worst thing that can happen to you as a home buyer is if you have certain expectations for numbers that were set by the lender that drastically change once you get under contract. Okay, last question, and this one does play a little bit into a couple of the other ones, but it's still really, really important to ask because of the business model of some of these mortgage companies, especially the big ones. And that is, are you going to be with me as a lender through the entire process? Why is that question important? Because too often, especially with your big companies, your banks, the person that originates your loan, as soon as the application is squared away, as soon as the contract is in, you're on the assembly line. You'll never talk to that person again. So whatever relationship you did or did not have with them, out the window, right? And it's just, you're just going down the assembly line. Whoever is working on the phone or the loan that day, who do you call, right? Do you call that loan originator? No, because they don't care. They're moving on to the next one, right? They're going to get paid when that loan closes. Right now, it's just a line of faceless individuals that are going to work your loan until closing. So you're not going to have anybody that's truly working on your behalf, that's really invested in your situation and has that relationship with you, okay? You've got to have a single point of contact throughout your entire loan process. You've got to have somebody that you're comfortable with, that no matter what happens with the loan, on the real estate side, life, whatever, you're like, okay, I know that I can reach out to Mike Lindsay at any point in this process, and even after closing, with my questions, with my concerns, because he'll help. People reach out to me after closing all the time because they know I'll answer and they know I'll have an answer for their problem. Okay, that loan officer, whoever originates your loan, shows you the early numbers, makes the sales pitch, creates the relationship, needs to be with you through closing and beyond. Don't let them put you on the assembly line. Okay? You're not a box or a toy or something like that. You are a unique person in a unique scenario. Again, making what is probably the single largest financial transaction of your entire life. You need the personal white glove service of someone who's with you throughout the entire journey and beyond. So team, those are the 5 questions that you need to ask any lender, including myself, that you are considering working with. And if anybody gives you any answers or any documentation that seems a little bit fuzzy or weird or off-putting or maybe too good to be true, please reach out to me. We can talk it through. I do know a lot of lenders nationwide. And of course, as I said, I can look up anybody and tell you what their production numbers are, how much of any loan program they're doing, where they've been working. Okay? Don't allow anybody to take advantage of you because you don't know the questions to ask. And definitely don't let anybody drag you through this process with the blinders on, like what happened to me my first 2 times purchasing a home. If you have any questions, please reach out. We can set up a phone consult. We can chat through email, Zoom, whatever. I just want to answer your questions and make sure you are armed with the right knowledge. If you enjoyed this video, please check out all of my other videos on home buying and VA loans.